Let's start off with the Vice President's visit to Alabanyo and Nkonya. Now, he's hinted that government intends to build a permanent military base in the disputed area of Alabanyo and Nkonya in the Volta region. AmissahArthur said the base would continue to offer training to the military personnel who would be stationed at the place. He expressed the hope that the resources would be found in this year's budget to begin the construction of permanent structures in the zone. The Vice President announced this when he visited the military and police personnel stationed at both Alabanyo and Nkonya. In December last year, there were renewed clashes following gunshots that left one person dead. The violence in the two communities has persisted for years despite several mediation attempts. Vice President AmissahArthur also announced that government is also working with other prominent chiefs in the area to find a lasting solution to the decade-old conflict over the disputed land. He said Togwi Dagadu, the ace paramount chief of Kwando, has offered to initiate a process of consultation and mediation, and has also expressed the confidence that indeed it would succeed. Many rural communities have had difficult relations with cattle herders, also known as Fulani herdsmen. One family of herders has moved many times to find pasture for cattle and to avoid conflict. They've had to settle in a bush quite a distance away from Adaklu Terapenu in the Volta region. That's where we met Fatih, a 15-year-old waiting to be given away in marriage.
30 minutes from Adaklu Terapenu, we see a community of about 5 huts. The residents are a family of herdsmen who have lived here for 5 years. They are originally from Niger and have moved several times to find fresh pasture for their cattle. They may be away from their country, but that does not mean they have forgotten their culture. Fulanis are known to marry at a very young age, and that is the future for 15-year-old Fatih. It is nothing to look forward to, but she does not have much of a choice. She will most likely be one of 4 wives to whomever she is married off to. Fatih's family chose to live in the bush to avoid conflicts with the communities around them. There have been many reports of Fulanis breaking the law in host communities and farms and other properties destroyed by their cattle. And so they have no direct access to amenities, no school, hospital or water. Absolutely nothing.
Nukata kafi devie ele yide debio meso fegbo ebelia ha mecho demi do elano sukuru yide amegbo ko elano le kopeme kafi elano sukuru de vivi kaka elama gama amemelo.
Fatih would have preferred to go to school than to marry at 15.
Sukuru enyore mezemadu doctor be ne amede diedo makpogbo le kopeme.
Already, 2 girls her age have been married off and they are pregnant. It is very likely what her future looks like.
We'll stay in Adaklu Terapenu, where young Fulani boys herd cattle every day and pick other skills while they look after the herd. Ali Boli is 11 and he has been milking cattle all his life. He learned this at a tender age and is now quite skilled at it. Let's take a peek into his life. We apologize for that. We'll bring you the story in subsequent broadcasts. Now, some buildings within the airport enclave will be demolished, according to the Ministry of Transport. This call has been made again following the crash landing of a cargo plane at the Kotoka International Airport. The ministry says it will demolish the buildings if they consider their location a threat to aviation security. Meanwhile, a task force from the National Security has already been established to identify all illegal structures that fall within the demarcated airport security zone. In an interview with an Accra-based radio station, Deputy Minister of Transport Joyce Mokhtari said the objective of the exercise is to safeguard airport lands in the country. An Ethiopian cargo plane which came into the country from Lomé crash landed at the Kotoka International Airport in Accra on Saturday morning. Away from that, managers of beach resorts along the Kolekono Beach are asking the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to stop dumping human waste into the ocean. The operators who spoke off camera say the frequent dumping of the human waste is affecting their business as tourists complain about the bad stench in the area, besides turning them away anytime they visit. Lavender Hill has been used for many years as venue for the dumping of human excreta.
August 23, 2014, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly was ordered to refrain from dumping untreated liquid sewage at the Kolekono Beach, popularly called the Lavender Hill. The Accra High Court, which gave the order, also asked the Assembly to comply with the enforcement notice issued by the Environmental Protection Agency to build digesters to treat this waste in order to protect the environment. It further ordered the Assembly to make copies of its decommissioning plan available to the EPA within 14 days. This followed an application for an order filed by EPA asking the court to stop the Assembly and its chief executives from polluting the Kolekono Beach. But to date, human excretory is still being dumped at the Lavender Hill. When the news team visited the area, authorities prevented us from filming their activities. Neither did they speak with us. Although the operations of the AMA is affecting scores of beach resorts in the area, the managers refuse to speak on camera due to fears of being victimized. Emmanuel Kofi, who has worked with the Kole Beach Resort for over 20 years, defied the odds to speak to us.
Ke wumo ya eno ya ba onani wo boni peni ke ni omiji ka amechi ame hwie e mia unke ba ke nue chakie ni ikele ba ho bi enegbe sike nue sa e ho bi egbe keke e ha fen ya gangwe je mo fe mo nyon ke ekwe ni tafrache ni ewuo beja ehie ye plane no dani na agba ni ewuo eha olomi chaki of you.
10 days into the new year, the trucks continue to release the liquid waste into the sea. Against this backdrop, the Environmental Protection Agency is heading back to court over the Accra Metropolitan Assembly's refusal to comply with the court's earlier directive. Justice Kwesi Forces reports for Joy News.
Last year, the cholera outbreak in the country caused a lot of stir in the health, food and hygiene sectors. With a lot of dust from the Harmattan this January, have you ever wondered how contaminated the food you buy could be? Joy News reporter Ivy Jamfi found out from some food vendors in Accra how they are coping.
What informs your choice to buy food from a particular vendor? Some food vendors display their wares neatly in showcases and away from the dust, while others have their wares exposed to the mercy of the dusty Harmattan wind. These food vendors claim to be safe as they have their wares protected from dust. My food is always covered with rubber and remains warm. The fish is also kept in the sieve so that the dust does not come into contact with it. It is necessary that we maintain clean selling environments all the time. I sell a variety of foods. The harmattan has been bothering us, but we make efforts to keep our place free from dust. We also make sure that our cooking pans and plates are always washed. We always ensure the gutter is always desalted to attract customers. However, this wache seller who sells her food by a public toilet and an open gutter says she always covers her food, but the presence of a public toilet causes problems for her. I sell wache and I cover my food with a rubber and I keep some of my food in a nice chest. I also keep my surroundings clean. The public toilet causes flies to hover around, but I light an insecticide coil and it drives them away. The toilet sometimes overspills and ends up in the gutter. We sometimes cover it with sand and customers complain. We know it's not healthy, but we have no other place to move to. A Kenke seller who spoke to us also said the public toilet is a major challenge for them, forcing them to move.
The
dusty harmattan wind doesn't bother us. We dispose of our rubbish in the dustbin over there. The pit's latrine sometimes gets full and spills onto the compound. When it happens like that, there are house flies everywhere. We are making preparations to move away from here. However, our customers do not complain. The Meteorological Service has warned that this year's harmattan will be severe, so necessary cautions need to be taken by food vendors in ensuring their food is prepared under hygienic conditions. I, for one, would opt for covered food in a clean environment. The choice is, however, yours. Ivy Jemfi reporting for Joy News.
Well, now, Metro Mass Transit workers across the country will today begin an indefinite nationwide strike to demand the dismissal of the Deputy Managing Director and the board chair. The workers say John Ewukuduaza, implicated for his role in the disappearance of 12 buses, and Osaberima and Sasesriku, with their continuous existence in the company, will collapse the Metro Mass Transit business. In Shira FM, saw him interior whose investigations led to the discovery of some MMT buses at private mechanic shops, attended a divisional workers meeting on Friday and brought in this information. We will get in touch with him for updates in subsequent broadcasts. We'll bring you updates on that later. That's it from me for now. Have a good week. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amana.